The feed cut in without warning. Across Earth and its colonies, screens flickered, overriding news, entertainment, and private channels alike. A symbol burned across the black, the insignia of the Velther Empire, a 12-pointed star wreathed in flame. The message was universal. Unstoppable. Commander Jack Rourke stood frozen in the Lunar Command Center of Outpost Theta. The control room dimmed as the feed took over. All chatter ceased. Everyone, soldiers, techs, brass, stared in stunned silence. A cold, female voice spoke in Galactic Standard. By decree of Executor Marex Forn, the following are found guilty of cultural insurrection, subversive thought, and treason against the harmony of order. The image cut to a towering scaffold stretching across a mist-wrapped plaza. Hundreds of humans, engineers, doctors, workers, were shackled in rows. One by one they dropped. No sound. No ceremony. Just precision and silence. Then came another row. And another. Jack's jaw clenched. His hands curled into fists. They'd said there were talks. They said civilians would be treated as protected residents under treaty law. Lies. All of it. He didn't flinch until he saw her. Third row, fifth from the right. Brown hair in a tight braid. Pale blue overalls stained with dust. Her face was calm, even resigned. Sarah Rourke, his younger sister, the reason he joined the SEALs in the first place. He stepped forward, instinct overriding thought. No. The image jumped. Her body fell. The news snapped taut. The screen froze on the final tally. Total executed, 100,000 Terran citizens. Message: compliance is peace. Resistance is death. Asterisk asterisk. Then it went dark. Someone exhaled, shaky and broken. A technician muttered, "God help us." Jack turned and walked out. 3 hours later, the brass convened on the dark side of the moon. Projector displays flickered to life inside a shielded war room beneath Mare Imbrium. Flags of every Terran faction lined the walls, useless symbols now. The room was full of posturing and nothing real. "We cannot provoke further conflict," said Ambassador Levrin, a polished suit with too many words and not enough spine. Velther's transmission was abhorrent, but retaliation will spark full war. Billions could die. "We're already at war," said Rear Admiral Kovacs. "They just fired the opening shot." Jack stood in the back, arms folded, silent until now. "They didn't fire a shot," he said. "They hanged them. Like trophies." The room turned toward him. Levrin lifted a brow. "Commander Rourke, this isn't a time for personal vendettas." Jack stepped forward. This wasn't personal. It was strategic. Velther executed hostages to prove they can erase us whenever they want, and we're sitting here measuring political fallout? General Akimoto sighed. "You know I respect your service, but Earth doesn't have the fleet to challenge them." "Not yet." Jack didn't blink. "Then send the few of us who can." Silence. 2 days later, he sat alone in a maintenance hangar under the USS Vindicator's shadow. A cold, metal case rested in his lap. He unlocked it, revealing a slim data chip and a note. Unauthorized ops code, Argos. Below, a handwritten line. "Some fights are off the record." "Yes." Jack smiled grimly. Admiral Sato was taking a risk. But it was the only green light he'd get. SEAL Team 9 assembled in the Armory 1 level below the Vindicator's launch bay. 5 hardened operators, each with years in void ops and classified theaters. They gathered wordlessly as Jack entered. Darnell, the sniper, broke the silence. "Is this real? You got the brass blessing or just their blind eye?" "Does it matter?" Jack said. Raise, their cybertech shrugged. "Not if we're not coming back." "We are," Jack said. "But we're going to leave a message of our own. One that can't be ignored." He keyed a map onto the wall. Velther space lit up in red, vast and coiled like a serpent. "Our target is here." He pointed to a sharp triangle in the heart of enemy territory. "Executor Vorn's personal fortress. We get in. We take him out. We broadcast his death across the same channels. They stared, absorbing the suicide mission for what it was. Then Darnell spoke, voice low. They hanged our people like livestock. If we don't answer that, we ain't human anymore. Jack nodded once. Gear up. The USS Vindicator slipped from moon orbit in stealth drive, blacker than space around it. Inside, silence held like gravity. Jack sat in his command chair, scanning the projected star field, eyes locking on the distant speck that was Velther Prime. He tapped the edge of his sister's last transmission, an encrypted video looped on his wrist pad. She was laughing, holding up some kind of glowing spore she'd been studying. It froze on her smile. Darnell entered the bridge. You good? Jack didn't answer right away. She believed we could make peace. That there was something in the Empire worth saving. Darnell leaned against the console. You think she was wrong? I think she was unarmed. The pilot's voice came through. Jump ready in 30. Jack rose. Let's make history. The Vindicator surged into the dark, destination, the heart of the Empire. The message was clear now. They wanted compliance. They were about to get a war. The Vindicator emerged from jump space in the shadow of a dying moon. Jack stood on the bridge, watching the green swirl of Bargain Void below, a rogue trade hub drifting at the edge of Velther territory. It wasn't marked on official charts. No station ID. Just unregulated mass. Illegal tech smuggling, mercs, and worst of all, Imperial lookouts hunting defectors. Shields low. Heat signature suppressed, Reyes said from the console. We've got about 6 hours before someone spots the inconsistencies. Jack nodded. That's all we need. Darnell, helmet under one arm, leaned in. Remind me why we're walking into a nest of traitors and pirates instead of just blasting our way through. Because there's one person here who can get us into Velther Prime, Jack said. And if we go in loud, we won't make it to orbit, let alone Vorn's fortress. Inside the void, everything reeked of ozone and betrayal. The station's inner ring buzzed with life, mechanics working on broken drones, off-worlders trading chemical mods, children begging near a carbon vent. Nobody looked anyone in the eye. They didn't need to. Everything had a price. Jack led the team through a maze of rusted corridors until they reached a door marked only by 3 deep claw marks, an old signal. Inside, a woman sat on a crate, boots up, flanked by 2 drones and a massive alien bodyguard whose skin shimmered like oil. Didn't expect to see your face again, said Silterra, former smuggler turned black market queen. She didn't stand. You owe me. I'm calling in what I'm owed, Jack said. We need a corridor through Imperial border space. No scans. No questions. She raised a brow. You're going after Vorn, aren't you? Do you care? No. But I care who watches me die after helping you. She tossed a small drive. Encrypted beacon codes. They'll mimic a diplomatic envoy long enough to slip you in. After that, you're ghosts. Jack caught the drive. That's the idea. Word of advice? She added, voice dropping. You're not walking into a palace. That city eats souls. Vorn doesn't just kill. He converts. He turned to go. Jack, she said, and for a moment, her voice softened. You see Sarah? He froze. She was in the news feeds. Before the broadcast. Trying to help prisoners, getting in the way of transports. He didn't respond. Just walked out. The beacon codes worked. Within hours, the Vindicator was drifting past Velther's outer patrols. Reyes' modulated signal pulses disguised them as a returning diplomatic vessel. The Empire's orbital sensors, reliant on rhythm and expected cadence, didn't question the anomaly. Darnell watched the sensors. They're letting us waltz in. Arrogance makes you blind, Jack said. Ahead, Velther Prime came into view. It wasn't a planet. It was a monument to control. The entire surface had been reshaped into a metallic lattice, cities rising in concentric towers, airspace buzzing with patrol drones, roads of light threading across a planet that no longer breathed. At its center, the Citadel, A black spire that seemed to split the clouds, flanked by hangars and skyhooks. Vorn's seat of power. Jack didn't blink. They docked at a freight port under the guise of delivering diplomatic cargo. The team moved fast, armor hidden beneath civilian suits, weapons folded into small cases. Every checkpoint they passed, every retinal scan, was a test. Inside the city, nothing was real. Giant hollow posters showed perfect citizens, perfect obedience. Children in uniform reciting oaths to order. Nobody smiled. They reached a safe house run by the underground, a buried server farm once used by human workers before the annexation. Now, it served as a contact point for traders, smugglers, and those brave enough to resist. Reyes cracked into the local net. Found it. The broadcast feed originated from here. Citadel Command Tower, Upper Ring. Locked behind biometric seals and rotating codes. Jack leaned over him. And the invasion? Reyes frowned. Fleet movements confirm it. A full-scale assault group is assembling. Final prep in 72 hours. Darnell stepped forward. This wasn't just a warning. It was a distraction. Jack's voice dropped. They didn't hang our people to break us. They did it so we wouldn't see what was coming. That night, Jack reviewed the data. Dozens of assault carriers, wormhole tunnelers, planetfall dropships. All headed for Earth. He closed the files and opened the last message from Sarah. She was in a crowded medbay, hands covered in blood, tending to a wounded child. If you're seeing this, I didn't make it. Don't lose yourself trying to balance the scales. You're not a weapon. You're my brother. And you're better than this war. He closed the file. Eyes hard. The next morning, they made their move. Using Reyes' forged ID, they passed into a maintenance corridor near the Citadel's lower perimeter. Elevators carried them silently up toward the broadcast array. Jack could feel the air changing. The higher they went, the quieter everything became. The city's noise faded. It was like climbing into the eye of a storm. Halfway up, the alert triggered. Tripwire, Reyes snapped. We're flagged. Darnell raised his rifle. So much for subtle. An alarm blared. Drones burst through ceiling vents. The corridor erupted. Muzzle flashes strobe-lit the dark. Jack moved fast, dropping 2 drones with center mass shots before ducking behind a pipe. Sparks showered over his head. Reyes jammed a blade into the floor panel and opened an escape route. Service chute, go! They dove in. Jack helped drag Connor, wounded in the side, his breath sharp and ragged. Stay with me! Jack barked. I'm fine, Connor gasped. Just get us to the damn tower. They made it to a forgotten maintenance level. Connor collapsed, coughing blood. Jack kneeled beside him. We can get you patched up. Just hold on. Connor shook his head. Nah. You've got to finish it. Kill that bastard. Burn this place down. Jack nodded, jaw tight. Hours later, Jack stood at the edge of the Citadel's outer ring, looking up at the tower that housed Vorn. He turned to his team. 4 men left. Fewer than when they started. But alive. We finish this, he said. And we make sure the galaxy watches. The upper atmosphere of Velther Prime was unnaturally still. From their perch on the Citadel's subdeck, SEAL Team 9 stared up at the black monolith above. The Executor's command tower pierced the clouds like a blade. Smooth walls, no windows. Just a single vertical breach, the data spine, a maintenance access shaft that ran to the core. They'd lost 2 men getting this far. Now only Jack, Darnell, and Reyes remained. Jack adjusted the seals on his infiltration suit. We go now. Before the next patrol loop resets. Reyes slotted his uplink tool into the hatch port. Splicing the biometric lock. 2 minutes max. Darnell scanned the skyline. Think he knows we're coming? Jack stared up at the spire. He will soon. Inside, the shaft was narrow, coated in magnetic dust and dead sensors. The trio climbed in silence, ascending in bursts. Every 30 meters they paused, checking for interference. None came. Halfway up, Jack stopped. Something buzzed through his comms, faint, nearly imperceptible. A voice. A whisper. Your vengeance will not unmake what has been done. He froze. Did you hear that? He asked. Darnell shook his head. Nothing. But Jack did. And the voice had come from inside his headset. The command tier at the top was cavernous. Metallic walls glowed faint blue. The air was sterile, no scent, no heat, nothing human. They moved in formation. Tight. Quiet. Focused. Reyes guided them toward the data nexus, a monolithic column of crystallized processing units stretching floor to ceiling. It pulsed with a rhythm like a heartbeat. This is it, Reyes said. I'll load the virus, crash their relay network, trigger every silent alarm we've got cached. Jack nodded. We broadcast the truth. Vorn's voice, his plans. Then we kill him. As Reyes tapped in, Darnell swept the perimeter. Something shifted. A wall panel slid open. From the void stepped a Velthor hybrid, face half metal, eyes glowing faint green. Unarmed, but deliberate. Jack raised his rifle. Name. Rank. The creature tilted its head. Colonel Drax. Strategic Liaison. Executor Vorn asked me to escort you. Reyes stepped back, hand on his sidearm. He asked. Drax smiled with no warmth. He's been watching since you left Earth's orbit. Jack didn't lower his weapon. Then he knows what happens next. Oh, he's counting on it, Drax said calmly. Please. He's waiting. Jack looked to Darnell. No one moved. Then Jack lowered his rifle. Take us. The corridor leading to Vorn's throne chamber was nothing like the rest of the citadel. It felt ancient. The walls were carved, not manufactured. Symbols, some human, some not, etched deep into obsidian stone. Drax led them without speaking. His silence felt practiced. Why show us this? Jack asked. Because Executor Vorn believes you should understand why you're about to fail. They reached the final door. Drax stepped aside. He waits alone. Jack turned to Reyes. Get the data out. No matter what happens, you send the broadcast. Reyes nodded once. Darnell followed Jack through the doors. Vorn stood alone in a vast, empty chamber lit by vertical slits of pale light. He wore no armor. No guards. Just a dark robe with silver trim, hands clasped behind his back. Tall. Imposing. Unmoving. Commander Rourke, he said without turning. The blade of your species. Jack stopped 5 meters from him. Darnell flanked right, rifle raised. Vorn finally turned. His face was unscarred, symmetrical, almost human, but the eyes glowed softly, and there was something wrong in his presence. As if the room bowed around him. You executed civilians, Jack said. People who believed your lies. Your treaties. Vorn's voice was calm. They were tools. Necessary to dull the edge of Earth's defiance. You hanged my sister. Vorn tilted his head. Your sister was compassionate. Admirable, even. But she chose resistance. Jack's grip tightened. Darnell didn't speak. He was locked in, tracking every move. You're going to answer for every life you took. I already have, Vorn said. To order. To stability. This galaxy is chaos wrapped in instinct. You are its symptom. You think humans are a threat to your empire? No, Vorn said. You're a contagion. Your culture breeds disobedience. Curiosity. Identity. Left unchecked, it spreads. Jack raised his weapon. Then consider this the cure. Vorn smiled. Shoot me, and I become a martyr. Spare me, and I remain a god. Choose. Jack hesitated. Darnell didn't. He fired. The round struck Vorn's shoulder, but he didn't fall. He staggered, turned slowly, and laughed. Interesting. Suddenly, the chamber erupted. Walls peeled back, revealing a ring of energy cannons, activated, but not firing. Vorn spoke again. This is not your moment, Commander. It's mine. Jack lunged. The two collided with brutal force. Jack struck first, elbow, knee, then a grapple. Vorn countered with precise strikes, unnatural strength in every motion. Darnell circled, looking for an opening, but Vorn's movement was too calculated, too smooth. You fight like a soldier, Vorn said, driving his palm into Jack's chest, sending him sliding back. But you think like a brother. It makes you slow. Jack spat blood. I'm still standing. Not for long. Darnell fired again. This time, Vorn dropped to a knee. Jack closed the distance and tackled him. They crashed against the wall. Jack pinned him and pressed the barrel to his temple. Vorn didn't struggle. He just stared. You'll kill me, he said, and trigger 1,000 ships. Or you'll leave me, and they'll say humanity blinked. Jack's finger tensed. Then his calm lit up, Rhea's voice strained. Broadcasts live. Uploading everything. I'm sending the truth. Jack stared into Vorn's eyes. Then we don't need your body. He shot him. The chamber went silent. Jack stood over Vorn's corpse, chest heaving. Darnell whispered, Was that the right move? No, Jack said. It was necessary. He keyed his mic. Rhea's status? Silence. Rhea's? Darnell swore. Something's wrong. They raced back to the Nexus. The doors were ajar. Inside, Rhea's lay slumped over the console, blood on the floor. A clean shot through the side. No sign of the shooter. But the screen pulsed. A timer ticked down. Transmission live. Galactic broadcast, 38 seconds remaining. Rhea's had finished the job. Jack swallowed hard. He knelt beside his friend, closed his eyes. You did it! The console beeped, upload complete. Across 1,000 star systems, truth surged like a firestorm. Vorn's orders. His broadcasts. His admission. His death. The lie was broken. They carried Rhea's body back to the shaft. As they descended, alarms echoed above. But they didn't look back. Jack didn't speak again until they reached the ship. Get us out of here, he told Darnell. Now. The USS Vindicator tore through the upper stratosphere of Velther Prime, hull groaning as it broke free of the gravity well. The sky behind them flared with crimson, explosions dotted the Citadel's mid-tier, fire crawling across the black spire like veins of defiance. Jack stood in the command bay, drenched in sweat, uniform torn, bruises forming under his armor. Darnell manned the pilot station, fingers moving across the console with trained urgency. Jump coordinates set, Darnell said. But we've got 2 frigates scrambling behind us. Jack didn't look back. How long to wormhole window? 45 seconds, give or take. Darnell adjusted course, weaving through debris from the crumbling city below. We stay much longer, they'll pin us down. Behind them, the Citadel continued to collapse. A chain reaction, fueled by Rhea's parting gift. Data bombs embedded deep into the command spine. With the relay servers fried and the truth broadcast across the galaxy, the Empire's illusion of control was crumbling faster than its towers. Jack glanced at the medbay door, where Rhea's lay wrapped in a sealed containment shroud. No ceremony. No time. You think it's enough? Darnell asked, voice low. Jack exhaled slowly. We lit the fuse. Someone else will have to carry the fire. The ship trembled, energy bolts slammed into their rear shields. Darnell cursed under his breath. Here they come. On the monitor, 2 Velther frigates closed in, their weapons charging. Jack gritted his teeth, stepped toward the targeting station, but before he could act, a 3rd signal blinked into view. Wait, Darnell said, frowning. Unmarked ship. Small. Fast. The blip streaked between the frigates and Vindicator. A flurry of pulses followed. One of the frigates veered off course, disabled. The second faltered, shields collapsing. Jack narrowed his eyes. Who the hell? Then came the transmission. Figured you'd need a distraction, Commander. Sil Terra's voice. Darnell laughed once. Guess you still have friends. Don't get sentimental, Sil replied. You owe me a drink and a ship. I'll give you both, Jack said. If we survive. They jumped. The wormhole opened in a crack of light, swallowing the Vindicator whole. Silence followed. No chasing ships. No alarms. Just stars. Jack slumped into the co-pilot's chair, letting the moment settle. They'd done it. Executor Vaughn was dead. The truth of the massacre was out. And the Empire's foundation had cracked. But it didn't feel like victory. The next day, the Vindicator cruised in low orbit over Mars, waiting for clearance to re-enter Earth space. From the observation deck, Jack watched the red horizon below. Darnell stood beside him, quiet. They're calling you a war criminal in some sectors, he said finally. A terrorist in others. Jack didn't move. And Earth? Mixed bag. Politicians are scrambling. The people? They're waking up. He handed Jack a datapad. Thought you'd want to see this. The screen flickered to life, feeds from across Velther space. Protests in city squares. Workers dismantling state statues. Even factions within the Imperial fleet declaring neutrality. The voiceovers varied by language, but the message was always the same. No more chains. Jack lowered the pad. Reyes did it. Darnell nodded. He made them see. They stood there, letting the weight of it land. A single message. A single act. And now, a galaxy stirred. Later, Jack entered the ship's small memorial room, just a dark wall etched with names. He added one more. Connor Blake. Reyes Toma. SEAL Team 9. Killed in action, Velther Prime. He tapped a final line beneath it. For those who chose to fight when silence was safer. The Earth fleet finally hailed them at 0300 hours. Admiral Sato's face appeared on the main screen, tired, grizzled, but unmistakably proud. You broke the rules, Sato said. Jack didn't answer. You disobeyed direct orders. Took a stolen warship into enemy territory. Killed a galactic dignitary. Cost us any chance at formal diplomacy. Jack met his eyes. Was there ever a chance? Sato gave the faintest smile. No. But it's good someone made sure the rest of us stopped pretending. He leaned forward. You won't get a medal for this. I'm not asking for one. But the people, across systems, not just Earth, they're calling you something else. Jack frowned. What? Human. Sato paused. You reminded them what that means. That night, Jack found a quiet spot at the rear of the ship, lights dimmed, comms off. He played the last message from Sarah one more time. You're not a weapon, Jack. You're better than this war. He closed his eyes. For the first time since the broadcast, he let himself remember her laugh. Not her fall. Her life. When the message ended, he whispered back. I hope I proved you right. Outside, stars drifted past. Far away, the Velther Empire smoldered in silence, its dominion fractured. But for the first time in generations, Earth wasn't the one trembling. And somewhere, deep in the heart of rising resistance, Jack Rourke's name was already being spoken, not as a soldier, but as a symbol. Of humanity unbroken. Of justice earned. Of freedom taken back.